Man who rescues 20 people soon loses his career because of his heroism. Shavrish Karapetian became a household name in Armenia because he swam harder and faster than a lot of other people. But if you ask the decorated, competitive swimmer about what many considered his most shining moment, he wouldn't point to a moment in the pool. Instead, he would likely point to a split-second decision to intervene in a disaster unfolding right before his eyes. And while this life-defining moment might have elevated him to hero status in the eyes of Armenians, looking back, he had to ask himself, was it all worth it?
Before we begin, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to our channel, and click the notification bell for more amazing videos.
By 1976, Shavrish Karapetian was already an international hero. As one of the most gifted athletes of his generation, he could have easily rested on his laurels. When disaster struck, however, Shavrish boldly leapt into action, even if it meant risking his own future. Shavrish was born in Armenia, then a part of the Soviet Union, in 1953. Though he had a fairly typical childhood, everything changed when a family friend suggested that Shavrish's body type would lend itself to swimming. The Soviet national team took notice of Shavrish's abilities and groomed him to be their new star. He blew way past all expectations his coaches set for him, breaking 11 world records and winning the World Championship 17 times. Shavrish's specialty was fin swimming. Athletes in the specialized event swim almost totally underwater, aided by a snorkel and a single large flipper worn on both feet. They almost look like mermaids. Shavrish became a sensation. Nevertheless, time caught up with him, and his career was on the ropes by the mid-1970s. He suffered the humiliation of being left off the national roster in 1976. What looked like the end, however, was just the beginning for Shavrish. Determined to rediscover his prime form, Shavrish traveled to the Armenian capital of Yerevan to train. He just completed a 12-mile run around a lake on September 16, 1976, when an unimaginable calamity unfolded right before his eyes. A trolleybus veered off a dam road and plummeted into the icy lake below. Bystanders called for help, but Shavrish knew it would be some time before emergency responders could make it to the scene. He alone could save the passengers' lives. The bus sank to the bottom of the lake within seconds. Shavrish hesitated only to warn some nearby boys not to enter the lake. Then, exhausted as he was, he took a deep breath and dove right into the lake. The dirty water made it almost impossible to see, so Shavrish had to rely on his instincts to find the bus. In just 30 seconds, he smashed a window, grabbed an unconscious passenger, and pulled him to safety. As the authorities arrived to assess the situation, they were flabbergasted to see Shavrish making repeated trips in and out of the sunken trolleybus, even with his leg badly cut on broken glass. Astonishingly, Shavrish single-handedly extracted and saved 20 people. He pulled out several others who did not survive the crash. He only stopped once he passed out from oxygen deprivation. The Soviet government did not release the full details about the miraculous rescue, though that was fine by Shavrish. He was laid up in a hospital and looked forward to resuming competition. But there was a big problem. He wasn't getting better. His heroics caused permanent damage. The blood loss and sub-zero temperatures brought on nervous fatigue, and the contaminated water gave him sepsis in his lungs. It looked doubtful he would ever compete again. He returned to swim in a few events, but eventually stepped away. Shavrish settled into a more ordinary life, but he never doubted he made the right decision that day at the lake. Although Soviet media avoided publicizing national tragedies, they decided they couldn't cover up Shavrish's courageous deeds. Once newspapers broke the story, the ex-swimmer received a number of medals and became a household name. Tens of thousands of pieces of mail poured in, ranging from letters of admiration from fans to honorary certificates. One even informed him an astronomer had discovered a new asteroid and was naming it after Shavrish. Now an icon, Shavrish didn't let it get to his head. He thought of himself as an ordinary guy from Armenia. A man can find himself somewhere people need his help. "I am not an exception," he explained. In spite of his humility, Chavers did not shy away from heroics later on in life. A few years later, he passed by a house that caught on fire. Chavers sprinted inside and pulled several residents out before the burning wreckage collapsed.